Hello and thank you for joining me. I'm Heather Forgan of stampwithnellie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. If you watched my video where I showed off my pre-order goodies, then you may have already seen that I have this Notes and Totes stamps and dies bundle. Now, there's a few dies there, but most of the dies are ready and waiting for me to do some more die cutting so that I can make another card like this one. So this has been my first play around with this. Basically, I used all of the dies, cut them all out, played about, and thought that this would be a cute little bag using the Floral Delight designer series paper. So there's all sorts of gorgeous designs in there that you can choose from. And I just really wanted to use the white and daffodil delight theme on this. And then I discovered that I had a little tea bag that just by folding over that edge there, I can tuck that in and you can still see my sentiment on there. So I kind of thought that was quite cute. Sending warm wishes. I've got glue all over this. I'm going to have to tidy that up. But it was fun to play around with that. So I'm going to make another one, hopefully with less glue all over it. And as you can see, I've got another card base, then a layer of Daffodil Delight, and then a layer of basic white. I've got a scrap of Daffodil Delight that I'm going to cut the handle from. So I'm going to change from a white handle to a yellow handle. So those little bits that are on there will then have to be white. You get two dies. Let me just show you that cut out that tiny little accent piece, and it also cuts that out at the same time. You get two of them. I've got two of them on there, and I'm going to do my sunglasses again. So there's some things that I will need to cut twice. Cut them from yellow and also cut them from white and mix and match the pieces. But I'll show you me doing that. Okay, so let me just die cut these pieces first. So that is the main body of the bag. That's the little scarf that was tied around the handle. And then I've got this piece here that went along the bottom of the bag there. And then that piece there is for the pocket, which I have actually left as a pocket. You could slide something in there. And then my water bottle, I just actually want the top bit to be white on that. So let's just press that down. I'll die cut those. And then, as I say, I will need to die cut that and that again in white and that from something different. So I have my trusty cut and emboss ready to go. And I'll just whiz through the die cutting process. I am just going to say what an absolute delight these are to cut. Pieces just come out nice and smoothly. I have been using a non-Stampin' Up die for the first time in years. It was a very cheap die that I got online, and it has given me a whole new appreciation for the quality of Stampin' Up dies. And the only reason I've been using a non-Stampin' Up die is because I've been making Easter sort of cream egg holders, and they are for a community event. So I needed to make, wait for it, 150 of them. So I needed it to be quick and simple, and that die did the trick. However, just awful trying to get the pieces out, and I've cut my finger on it once. It's just horrid. So if I was ever tempted to buy cheap dies, that's put me off. You get what you pay for in life, don't you? Right, so let me just get all these bits and bobs and then decide which other bits I still need to cut. So there is a little tiny handle for the water bottle in there. Try and not lose that one, Heather. And then I've got these little accent pieces. I don't actually need the corners, I don't think. No, I don't. That little accent piece there. I've got this piece. I don't need those two there. Done with that die, but I need to reuse this one. Get myself in a bit of a mess here whilst I remember what I have to do and what I've not to do. So I've changed up the little bottle for this little tube on this one. Still cute though, isn't it? And right, so I need to do this in white, and I need to do the bottle from Designer Series paper. Let me get rid of all of these little bits. I'm going to use, what am I going to use? I think I might use the gingham for the bottle, the main bit of the bottle, but I don't need all of that, so I'm going to cut a bit and then I will get a piece of white to do that and then come back because I need, what else did I need? Glasses, that's what I need. That. I'll die cut that and I'll come back. Okay, so I have a whole load of bits here, and the main bit is this piece here. Now there are some score lines there, 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 and a little one tab bit there. Okay, and then we've got that bit, and then we just have a look at that again. Yeah, that bit goes in, and that bit can come in like that. But actually, I don't really need those bits. I'm just going to chop that off, and that might mean that I get less glue everywhere. So there is a little score line there. I'm just going to chop up there like that. Take that bit out. That bit will be used when I eventually get round to trying a little 3D thing. But as you can see, you get a 3D bit like that, but it will go flat. So we need to decorate that. And I had my long piece of white. On my original one, there's a lovely floral stamp, and I stamped that with that, but I'm just going to leave this plain white on this one. And that just runs right along the bottom there when you've got that, those side bits tucked round like that. Okay, not too much glue there, I hope. And then I want to add my handles, or just handle really, so a little bit of glue just on there. And let's see if I can find the center-ish. And glue that down. Then I've got those tiny little white, they're almost like fishy shapes. So a tiny bit of glue on there. That's a little bit too much. Just take a scrap and scrape that off. And pop that in the centre of that. Where's my pocket tool? There it is. See if I can get that like that. You might actually be better putting those bits on and then positioning your handle. It's all a learning curve. As I say, a brand new set of dies, and you're like, oh, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with all of these. Best bet, just cut them all out. And then once you've got the shapes, you can play around with those. Right, where did that bit go? It's over here. Right, so I'm just going to replace the lid with this one. So it's got a little line cut part way. I'm just cutting it right the way over. Don't need that bit, and then I can stick that lid on. Top there. And then this little bit that cut out at the same time as the bottle is just a little handle. That bit goes like that. Okay, so tiny, teeny, teeny, tiny. Just a smidgen of glue along there. And put that along underneath that lid like that. There we go. I've got my two-tone there, and my glasses next. Okay, so we've got going to do it that way round this time, I think. Yeah, because I don't know what I did with the other pieces. They'll be around somewhere. Hang on, hang on, hang on. They're still in the die. Let's check out the other way around. It might be better actually. Using the white on yellow or yellow on white. Oh, I'm going to stick with that one actually. I've got another pair for something else. And again, it just makes it different from my first one. So one more time, I was trying to get just tiny little dabs of glue, and I should have a cocktail stick, but I don't. So again, I'm just going to use edge of card just to move that. And I'm just lining those two up. You don't need to have glue all the way around, just enough to do that. All right, so on my other one, I just glued those down there. So a little smidge of glue, and we'll just pretend that they are hanging off there. Like so. So we've got that and that. And I've got my little scarf to tie on. It's adorable. So in reality, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there and pop that on like that. You can see I've got a little bit of glue that's oozed out there. I can tidy that up later. So I want my pocket for the front. Now, as you'll see with this one, I've got the pocket white and a little flap in yellow. So I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to put my little pocket on there and I'm just going to cut around this flap. So I'm just going to the outside of the stitching like so. Like that, and then that can sit on there. Now I've got yellow hearts, but I don't really particularly want yellow hearts, do I? The white hearts. I should do, because I must have cut them. That was just out of one of them. So I just put glue on the two sides and along the bottom so that I could tuck a little message in there if I decided I wanted to do that. There we go. Got my little bag pretty much ready. So we've got our card. This one I used the stamp that says sending wishes, and for this one I'm going to use just a note. I'm going to stamp that in that top corner on my white layer with Daffodil Delight. And I've just found a white heart to put on. It's just lying right there. Right, so just a note up in that top corner, like so. Gorgeous! This, we're gonna pretend is some sun cream. So I'll just stamp a little sun on that. And I think we're ready to just assemble. So I'll just put this layer onto my yellow layer, the lovely Daffodil Delight. I was kind of itching to use the new in colours, but I wanted to use that Floral Delight paper because it's just so bright and sunshiny to go with a lovely beach bag. Right, so that's just going to layer on here. Let's move it around until I'm happy. That will do. Okay. I'm going to put glue along those 3 tabs. A little bit along there, like that. And then that is going to pop on here, like so. It's just too cute. Who wouldn't want a beach bag like that? Finish it off with that little heart on the pocket there. Then I've got my water bottle, and I could put these up on dimensionals, but I think it's cute enough as it is. So let's just pop that there. like that. And then I've got my little tube of sun cream. Oh, don't do that, Heather. That's why you get glue everywhere. Pop it on. Then we can tidy up later. Do have a little cloth here. There we go. Take the excess off, and then what I can do is come back with my adhesive eraser or my embossing buddy and just take away any residual stickiness from that. So I do not have another tea bag, but I do have a gift card. It's a used gift card, but just to show that you could pop that in like that as well, or any kind of little note, a little bit of money, whatever, and you've got some fun cards. I have really enjoyed playing with these dies, and can't wait to see what else I can come up with using them. If you have any ideas, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. If you've enjoyed today's tutorial, please do give me a thumbs up. If you've got time to leave me a comment, that would be awesome. If you're new to my channel, please do click on that subscribe button, click the bell and get a notification the next time I upload a tutorial. Until then, please do take care. Bye bye.